It's fun that they see so much light in it, but you know they just want to take each other out in 2 games.
Yeah, I'm sure Edward's happy to have his AD carry working for him now.
Yeah, that's great, the way they say the driver is now in the side seat. So not only has Edward and Gambit dominated all of America, they dominated IM Cologne as well just recently.
Oh yeah, with the band back together again, they went undefeated, convincingly taking first place. And Diamond also earned the MVP at that tournament, while Genja had a 16.6 KDA at that tournament.
And today, Gambit is looking to make it 3 and then 4 wins in a row against the XDG squad that couldn't capitalize on a summer split when it came to the playoffs.
So XDG, which of course was named Vulcan during the summer split, was led by a pair of record setters on their way to a second place finish during the regular season. ManCloud set the record for most kills with 167, while Bloodwater had this record for most assists, 337. But they haven't played competitively since Worlds, so we aren't really sure what to expect from them next.
It's going to be interesting. While these teams last faced off against each other at World Finals, with Gambit taking both games, coming into today's matches, both teams admit they don't know what to expect.
I feel like the games against Gambit, they're not going to be very close. I think it's going to be a stomp. Either we're going to get stomped or we're going to stomp them.
The thing with international games is they're really rare. You don't get to play against European or Korean teams very often, so we just take this as valuable international experience. And there's also the NA versus EU rivalry that we have to settle.
We will see the matchup, but I still think that ManCloud is a really good player. Their team name is fun.
I feel like Gambit got a lot better with Edward on the team. I feel like Edward's probably the best support in EU right now, so it's definitely going to make it a lot harder for us.
No, I think that we're feeling really strong and confident. I don't know what they're going to bring up and if they got some special plays.
So yeah, Gambit's been playing and they've been scrimming for a while now. They showed up really strong. We didn't get back into the practice of things until like a week ago.
We want to win Battle of Atlantic and we want to win 2-0. And this is really important for us as a team. It is important for our fans, and this is important for Europe overall, because I think that Europe should be better than NA.
So it seems like they do, but don't know a lot about each other. And really, this is kind of an experiment for both teams being on the 3.14 now in a competitive scene on stage.
I feel like Alex said that twice, what Europe's supposed to be better.
We'll see. Maybe it's Texas. Everything has to be done twice. All right, now it's time to check out today's starting lineups. On the blue side, it's XDG. In the top lane is Benny, formerly known as Psycho Sid. In the jungle, it's Xmithy, ManCloud in mid, Zuna at ADC, and Bloodwater, the Machine, at support.
And on the red side, I'm sure you guys know, it's Gambit Gaming. Up top is Darian. In the jungle is Diamond. At mid is Alex Each. On AD carry is Genja. And supporting is, of course, Eddie.
And coming into this matchup, our featured matchup in the Battle of the Atlantic is the clash of the supports. XGD's Bloodwater versus Gambit's Edward.
Like they said, they've got the AD carries working for them now. And with the return of Edward, Gambit is looking like their old selves again. Even better than ever, actually. Now, we also heard that Bloodwater can make up for some of those mistakes that Zuna said he makes, and we'll have to see if he can keep this bottom lane in order.
You shouldn't have to be able to say that, though. You don't want to say that. He can pick up my slack if it happens. You really don't want to give that chance up. Go full bore and make it count. I mean, Bloodwater and Zuna have played together, the old CLG Black team with Benny, so there's synergy there.
Yeah, it's interesting that both of these teams kind of have come back together because
the support loop.
Vulcan has a history.
Full circle.
CLG Black, 3 of the members played together. Yep. And then when Bloodwater rejoined the team, man, they just shot up to the top of North American LCS.
It was actually a big, big time for them. Once they got grabbed up, they were kind of bolstered by all their sponsors. And Vulcan, a team of momentum, with that behind them as well, carried on, used the practice correct, and they really started to do well in the summer split. They were one of the bottom teams when they started.
Yeah. Plus now, it looks like they have a new stylist or something. I like the new uniforms. They're looking sharp.
Looking good.
But yeah, and they also have a new name to go with that, I guess. It's the Latin name, Ex Duris
Gloria.
Yeah. So that translates to from suffering ariseth glory. I guess last time they were playing Gambit, they were definitely suffering from late game mistakes. So we'll have to see if they can correct it.
To arise to some glory.
Rise to some wins here.
Well, it's going to be big. Doublelift puts pressure on the bottom lane already with that driver, Edward. Well, I guess
a lot of talking about that bottom lane. Doublelift feels like the Gambit bottom lane has the upper hand, so we'll have to see. if they can actually pull it out.
I think they almost would coming into this matchup, kind of on mentality and what the community has perceived about it. And actually coming off of IEM there, they were gigantic, taking out Fnatic in the finals. So how can you not be worried about that lane?
You're going to have to be watching that bottom lane. It'll definitely be exciting either way it goes. But again, let's get into the ban picks. Everybody has all 3 bans today, so they shouldn't be too worried about those.
There's a Benny head. There we go. There he is.
That is not Benny. That was
Smithy head. Right.
They're changing a couple names, but yeah, not too many.
So we got Nidalee banned out, Kassadin, high APs, and
okay.
We actually figured that the Bruisers would still be focused, but for these guys, it doesn't seem to be that
Yeah,
way.
it's actually similar. You know, last time they played at Worlds, really focused on mid lane bans. Still coming out with a lot of mid lane bans here. Kassadin is kind of a go-to mid lane ban because when that assassin does get a good mid game, then he snowballs extremely hard.
Somebody banned Mundo.
There you go.
Oh my
The top lanes. This is something a bit newer for this patch. All the tanky top laners. Mundo is the first one to be banned, and they've only got 1 ban left. Shyvana's still up, as well as, you know, things like Nasus. So we'll have to see if they actually want to use 2 of those. Shyvana was originally a Gambit special back when they were M5. They love Shyvana, both in the jungle and in the top lane.
It's almost one of the things that the 3.14 brings back for them, having those tanky junglers back that they used to use. And I said it the other day, it's great to see, and you can know when players are on those feel-good champions they've always used. Annie getting picked up. Edward said it. He probably picked up Annie.
All right, so since the supports are going to be carrying this game, it's fitting that we have a first pick support here for XDG, not wasting any time, looking for the playmaking. Annie definitely one of the best at that, as we saw yesterday.
Not a surprise, actually, seeing the Gragas come out as the last ban. We figured ManCloud probably would have been taking that.
Darian is just playing with the crowd's emotions here. My goodness.
It's also one of the things that Gambit has. They have a new social media dude. He's been putting out videos for Gambit. They have been so much more alive as a team, it seems, for their fans, when they're playing, when they're winning. They used to be so serious. But now they know when to have fun. They know when to get into game mode as well. And I think it absolutely helps the gameplay.
Yeah, the swag master,
Swag master, or Genja in his swag sitting.
A little bit of fun. But anyway, they did lock in the Shyvana. So we did a good job prepping that one. High five, Rib. They lock in the Shyvana that could either go top or jungle, like we were talking about. But the Sivir is really important because Sivir enables any of these beefy top laners that are the meta right now to get to the back line. When you have her and you pop her ult, then things like Shyvana are going to go wild in the other team.
This is like almost the Trinity, or I wouldn't even say Trinity now, it's the Taster's Choice pickup, having Sivir, Shyvana, Mundo's gone, but you can still get that Karma for another speed up that people have been running with Sivir, so we'll have to see. On the side XDG, they're now trying to have a little bit of fun.
You like speed boost with your speed
You like speed boost with your speed boosts? Vi is completely viable for this pick, no pun intended, because of what it brings to the mid lane. We saw the Elise banned out.
I don't know why the crowd doesn't like 80 carries. They keep sighing as soon as they...
Oh no, it's a regular pick. But yeah, Vi with that pressure in the mid lane, if you have that mid that can escape, boom, bang.
They were talking
boom.
about the junglers there. Doublelift kind of backed down a little bit on his Smithy talk up, but this is a very important jungler because there is a lot of focus on the mid lane. And when you have a Kha'Zix is one of those champions where if you get him going very early, he's an assassin, amazing in the late game, you get him resets. Vi is perfect doing that. Come in with the level 6, use his ultimate mid.
They say you want to dive into the fight, you can dive right in.
So they were talking about Diamond being an innovator. Locking in the Mumu. I'm going to say this is a jungler Mumu and not a top lane Mumu, which is actually possible.
Or Alex in mid.
But I'm going to say that it's a jungler Mumu just because that's where my heart lies. Wow! I might have to eat my words already.
Take your heart out. I don't know where your heart lies, Kobe. Kobe's heart does not lie in the right spot.
So we're either going to have a lane Mumu or a lane Nocturne this game. Very excited to see that. Both of them are actually doable. I've seen them both in the top tier of North American solo queue. Diamond 1, a lot of people try out these different things like this. Hotshot was actually an early fan of the Nocturne lane.
Nocturne lane mid because the spell shield gank easy?
It's mostly because of the wave clear from his passive. Yeah, I got the...
Just checking.
I'll get you on the 3rd. All right, but anyway, I would be more excited to see a lane Amumu just because
of course.
He operates
a little difficult.
off of people hitting him and spamming that tantrum. Both of them work pretty well with shoving the lane. So this is definitely something new from Gambit. People were looking forward to innovations, and we'll have to see it here.
And AD carries come around, some are picked up and some are played, but it seems like everybody has put Lucian in their champion pool. It has to be said that he is the biggest lane bully right now in the beginning of the game, and it's utilized over and over again by any team out there.
And note that he's paired with Annie, who is one of the best lane partners for Lucian, because as we were saying yesterday, all it takes is one stun to set up a guaranteed trade for Lucian, which is what he will win. Okay, so a lot of
Edward's smiling. They have tricks.
We've seen Alex just destroy AD carries with Kale before. Freeze definitely.
In EU.
He kind of scarred Freeze for life. I think he's pretty much always scared of Kale now. But that's one thing that Zuna will have to watch out for the late game. Meanwhile, though, we were talking about the lane phase. Anyway, lane phase here for Genja. I mean, I guess it's going to be with a Amumu if they hold on to it right now.
This is absolutely crazy.
In which case, you will want to have good side bush control there, and there's going to be more wards than usual because Amumu sitting in a bush is actually very similar to like a Blitzcrank support because the blind bandage going to come out from one of those bushes extremely hard to dodge, and that could actually be a great initiation.
There is no tell to these ganks that they've created. You have a Nocturne in the jungle,
keeping an eye on this.
A Shyvana whenever she wants to jump, or an Amumu that can bandage out of the bush. It's like instant. And that's really good. You have the walk-up ganks right now with the bruisers.
We talked about the bottom lane being the one to watch here before the game. Now it's definitely the one to watch. I'm pretty sure everybody's looking forward to this. Edward breaking out. It's timed out. He can't switch anymore. It's going to be support Amumu.
All right, as the teams load onto the Rift, remember that Sunday we will be bringing you the final shots in the Battle of the Atlantic as the region's top teams take to the Rift. North America's Cloud9 versus Europe's Fnatic.
Plus, we've got the final series in the Spring Promotion Tournament as Curse faces off against Cognitive Gaming.
The final day of our Spring Promotion coverage kicks off at 11 a.m. Pacific and 8 p.m. Central European time. Don't miss that tomorrow.
Now, back to this game where we have a support Amumu.
It's time.
Let's see how Gambit pull this one off. I think that he'll probably be starting out with a Dorans for the early brawl potential. But man, would this team benefit from that coin? If you can upgrade the coin and get the speed boost later, then it'll be huge for them as well.
And Kobe, they talked about having s'more synergy, Edward and Genja.
S'more synergy?
S'more synergy? You want some more?
That sounds delicious,
It is super good, and it has to be delicious if you're going to support with an Amumu. He is actually bringing the shield mastery, which bewildered you yesterday.
It did.
They will be using it.
It did. I was definitely caught off guard with that one, but that is the new hotness, apparently. And Edward is going to run that one. So that means he's extremely deep in the defensive tree, and he's going to look to be one of those new support tanks that we see this season that we have never seen before because they were so limited with their gold income.
He's saying Tabe more than Annie can be played. So Smithy being pretty dangerous right here. With the team on the other side, they could have baited out a little bit of a walking fight, but nothing for now. And Benny better not go down.
Good try with the ward. Real close to the bush. There is a little trick that you can use.
Gloss over.
If you don't have your smart cast for your items, then you can just regular cast it and hover over the bush. It'll change colors when it's in there.
Indeed.
But I did like how at least Benny was covering their exit, so he was watching to make sure Alex didn't cut them off, and they at least get out of the jungle unscathed. Edward's lying in wait.
Yeah, he is just being sneaky right now. Trying to White Knight. We'll see what he can do. It looks like they will try to get the steal onto this. Will they actually help and get it in top lane as well?
Yeah, it seems like Gambit are going to come out ahead from all these early jungle shenanigans. Since they saw 5 people invade their red, they got in before XDG could drop down any defensive wards around their jungle. And Diamond going to start off with the red here.
So starting off in this game, like we said, it's the first time seeing Gambit and XDG on the 3.14. We'll keep an eye on trinkets. We'll keep an eye on really what is happening with these compositions as well, because there's a whole lot to take in, and we've had some long games this weekend. So starting off, we'll do it pretty orthodox. Diamond will actually go for a bit more in the bottom, but he's going to find Benny here.
Yeah, so Benny's rotating down bottom because XDG wants the switch. They don't know what the plan is with this Amumu, but they're not going to fight it in a 2 vs 2 situation. Diamond actually being caught jungling here hurts XDG even more. He's zoning out Benny, getting some extra harass down on him. The wave has not yet pushed to the turret,
Right.
but it does open up the opportunity for Genja and Edward to shove that one in before Nasus can arrive and get some experience.
So they do get the 2v1 out. It seems apparent that that's what they wanted if Edward was going to go for a Mumu, so they swapped that up for themselves. Let's see how they can keep it going.
Now, Shyvana was pulled away for a split second there, but Darien as well did not lose too many minions. He does know that Vi has recently been in the red side jungle, and there's a possibility of a very early dive. Talked about Annie being a play-making support.
Yeah.
She could set that up with a stun and guarantee the Vault Breaker from Smithy to land, but it's still such a dangerous possibility of diving a turret this early in the game.
Smithy doesn't even have to worry about the turret right now as he gets himself behind. This is now vision on Smithy, so it's Diamond, see if he stays in the jungle.
Looks like he
Nocturne
is.
before 6. Have you seen it that much in 3.14?
Yeah, exactly. Diamond's just continuing to farm up his jungle. He's going to have to give some of it up to Darien because Darien was just chased out of lane. And we'll have to see if Gambit can actually catch up on turret damage since it's just Edward and Genja down bottom.
They're going to get the 2v2 lane matchup quite soon here unless they decide to do something different. And Diamond stays in the jungle to keep countering, knowing Smithy's only getting a bit of experience off the top lane. Gambit looks to be putting the pieces in place a little earlier.
Exactly. Gambit are not putting turret damage down. They're actually trying to deny more minions to the turret, so they're just farming behind it.
Yeah.
And they're looking for just the early zone here. Now that they've had time for Diamond to go back to base and heal once, bringing him back down to the jungle here. It looks like they're going to leave the turret and maybe go for Dragon instead, since they have an extra tank here in Edward. It's a very early Dragon.
Gonna have to. They lost that turret.
Wow, he's
Edward's
taking so
taking
much
quite a bit of damage, but kind of having that double tank also gives them the ability to try for this. Way too much pressure just from the ward. They are forced to back off.
Little bit overzealous there. Edward trying to tank that dragon took a lot more than he thought he was. This a 4-minute dragon is extremely early, and the reward for it isn't even as high as it used to be. So it's actually a really good call to back off right there. They don't end up losing anyone, and they'll just have to deal with this one turret down.
Benny teleports himself back to the top lane. I'll be very interested to see where Alex and ManCloud are able to go. This lane has just been freezing in the middle so far. We've seen a bit of jungle action. There's ManCloud trying to go aggressive and really put some fear in the eyes of Alex Hughes because the backside of Smithy, there it is! The Ignite finishes it off and they grab first blood.
Great gank there from Smithy. Look at the extremely early pink ward that they have in the river to guarantee that one. And that was a pre-6 Kha'Zix all-in. Very, very well played from XDG. It looks like they're getting off to a really good start, but they did have a good early game as well at Worlds when they were facing Gambit. So really, they have to stay focused here and not drop anything with some mid-game mistakes.
Very true, Kobe. They do need to hold that momentum. If they can, up past that 20-minute mark, we've seen XDG do quite well as they did under the name Vulcan. Right now, pressuring that bottom lane, they have only Edward. Looks like Genja's trying to get himself back in a position to farm here. Looking at that, 39 to 33, so not much happened in the 2v1 swap of the turret going down. And we're pretty much all even still. There's a little bit of gold to the first blood, but it's still anybody's game.
So as Diamond comes down for this gank, let's just go over that the 2v1 swap by XDG was really, really beneficial for them. Here comes the missed bandage.
Yeah, Terra's going to go down. He will get a bit of that onto Zuna, but they're focusing back and forth on the damage that they want. Easily able to walk out of that one. Smithy right on the back side. It looks like everybody's going to be safe.
Now, the 2v1 swap, not only did they get the first turret, but they also got a CS lead here for Zuna. And when you give a CS lead to a Lucian and Annie combo, Alex under pressure!
Alex gets hit up! ManCloud comes out of nowhere. Alex left scratching his head.
Well, now he's level 6, and Alex was still level 5. ManCloud doing a really good job taking that small window of opportunity where he has a huge advantage, and Alex can't make himself invulnerable.
You know, you see it one way. Overpower was crushing people in Europe on Kayle, but if you can get to Kayle first, you can see ManCloud is working it very well and has controlled that mid lane. This is causing Diamond now. He's going to have to do a little bit extra work for this mid lane instead of his side lane.
And a bold harass right there from ManCloud right under the turret, queuing Diamond and taking out a good chunk of his life.
Just waiting. Alex back to lane now. Looks like he's got another Dorrance to help get some HP there. A little bit of attack speed so he can start putting out some of his own damage a little faster. Not going to work out too well till he gets that intervention to help himself. 1,000 gold has been accrued with these 2 kills in 1 turret as XDG slowly and holds favor of this game.
Yeah, they're looking really good right now. But once Amumu does hit level 6 and he's got that ultimate, their team fight gets a huge boost coming from the support where it normally wouldn't come from. Oh, ManCloud going to solo his blue with no mana. He will take a good amount of harass right there.
Definitely.
We did see that Smithy was able to take on the Lizard and get that red buff for himself, so that's a plus. Especially at Battle of the Atlantic. It's been difficult.
Very self-sufficient right now for XDG. Yeah. Grabbing up his blue, has enough health to pretty much do what he needs to in lane before going back. It looks like he's going to just actually go back right now. 2 kills under his belt so far. The only 2 on the board, and with the help of Xmithy on the first one, he was able to get the second one all by himself. So these lanes still haven't really told us the story except for mid.
Okay, so the next thing that is going to pop up, though, for this game is a dragon fight. And we just talked about Amumu hitting level 6. It will also be a level 6 Sivir, which is amazing for dragon fight. So the bottom lane, even though, you know, they lost that, or they didn't take the turret down bottom, they at least are going to have a really, really big potential for that dragon fight that does come up pretty soon. And Benny still does not have his teleport back up.
Oh, yeah.
So it would be a 4-on-4, you know, for the next 30 seconds or so.
Well, ManCloud coming out with a Tiamat. He wants to get mid lane pushed as much as possible, as fast as possible. So Dragon could be plausible here in the next few minutes for these guys, keeping Alex Ish at his turret. See if they can start doing some damage with that.
Yeah, you can see both teams are having the same idea there. That's why there's a bunch of wards that were just dropped in the river around Dragon. Neither team wants to give that up. XDG are fine with just waiting for a little bit more because they're waiting on that teleport there. And then if Nasus can clear a wave and teleport down without Darien being able to interrupt him, if he doesn't get that Dragon's Descent on him, then it will be able to turn that fight around.
You usually see a Shyvana already having a bit more impact, but now left to the top lane. No roaming can be done by him. Teleport is coming back up on Benny as we just looked at that a few minutes ago. And again, the mid lane consistently to the turret. It always calls for action from Gambit.
All right, the teleport is up, and they're making moves towards the dragon, so it looks like XGG might be pulling the trigger here. Darien still up top. He's doing a good job just getting that CS lead over Benny by shoving the wave and then going to farm jungle as well. But since the Nasus does have teleport, it's a small advantage.
You see ManCloud and Xmithy both kind of huddling down together in friend mode. They're walking over a ward and they knew it. So they're going to stay mid, looking on Alex again here. They want to get this blue buff away from him. Maybe try to put Alex on tilt. They keep going after him. They'll get in his head.
And Gambit are staying cool, and they as they should be, because like we said so many times before, this patch, the early game, has a slightly decreased impact, and as long as you keep your composure and you get to that mid and late game, then you can easily come back.
Level 9 now coming in for ManCloud. He's doing quite well. Edward not having too much of an impact on that Amumu yet. It doesn't seem like it's the time to be utilized, or they just didn't get the early game they wanted, so they have to wait, like you said, for the mid game.
Okay, so the 2v1 switch definitely was not what Gambit expected. Edward started with a Doran shield.
Right. They took that top turret down instantly.
That doesn't help him at all in a 2v1 situation, because he's not going to want to dive the turret, and there's not going to be harass coming down him. So
it's a shield, but it's not shield.
Went and got his gold item after that. Delaying that gold item for the you know, till the first back was actually very big for them.
The gold lead has been closed a little bit, which is going to show that Gambit doing a little bit better in the farming area.
Looks like there's a party down bottom.
And they are
junglers
just waiting in the wing here with Diamond to get this gank on. But Xmithy smelling this one out as well. It's going to be a pretty good 3v3 if they decide to go in on it.
Both of the junglers do have their ultimates, as well as supports, ready with stuns. Looks like Eddie goes in.
Whoa, Zuna playing the frontline role that time. A little too much bait, and they took it all. Bloodwater goes back. He's down to half HP. Tibbers is going to be able to help them out, though.
It's all about initiative. When it's an even fight like this, whoever gets the CC landing first is going to have a huge upper hand. And since Edward lands the bandage shots this time, easy for him to chain it immediately into the Curse of the Sad Mummy and take down Zuna.
Smithy being here, stop the bleeding a little bit. They would have easily kept going on Bloodwater, so they only lose Zuna. 2-1 is Gambit knows and starts to make the moves to put themselves back in.
Yeah, I mean, it brings the gold right back to even here. And also, you know, Zuna hadn't bought up to that point, so his damage output, even if they had been able to keep him alive, would have been much less than Genja, who had already purchased his BF sword.
That's true. They almost played him into a false sense of security in the bottom lane. We're not pressuring. You don't need to go buy and scale yet. Don't worry. It's all right. 13 minutes on the clock. Smithy picking up his red once again. He does decide to back, actually, because they don't have vision of Alex in mid or top lane right now. So XDG playing this one safe. Gambit getting that kill. Knows there are many more to come. That dragon is still waiting for somebody.
All right, so Benny level 9, he now does have that level 5 siphoning strike, so it'll be on the shortest cooldown. He can start really stacking it up. It's only at 150 now, so not hitting too hard. But from this point on, it will have a pretty significant impact.
Sunfire Cave completed up. On to Darien. As we're seeing Pink Ward on Edward. They're trying to gain control of all the brush in the bottom lane. They're going to clear this one out. Try and do it more and more.
That was my immediate reaction to the Amumu support pick, was side push control here, so that he could pull off plays like we saw during that 3v3, throwing at the bandage there from Fog of War. Really, really helps you get that initiation and catch Zuna off guard.
And actually, with the most recent kill, he went back and grabbed the Relic Shield because he started with Pots and that Doran. So now they're trying to get that extra funding back in. Maybe he's getting Genja to drive for him now.
Yeah, he got that one, you know, as soon as he realized it was a 2v1 situation and he had to go back. The Relic Shield, you're going to have to upgrade it if you want to get it really cost efficient now. The initial version of it has a bit longer of a cooldown because it was a little too powerful. Now we see the dragon just leveled up right there. Little note, that's kind of new in the new patch. Everybody clapping for the dragon. Great job. But it is the average level of the champions now, and it's going to be worth a little bit more. It looks like this burst is going to be able to take it down even though they have vision.
They could be able to jump out of this as well. Looks like they're going to walk right out, and look how many wards. There's at least 100-some gold in wards more because there's one down in the river placed on that were not effective. Darien just looking to get a little bit of aggression here.
All right, so we still have the Nasus ultimate there. Benny holding on to it while Darien uses his.
He's slowed. He's slowed.
And now he's fast. He's speeding up again. All right.
Oh, Timber's coming out right on top of Genja. Do they have enough? The spell shield comes out. He lives on the hunt, gets him out of there. Smithy tries to take down Edward. They play it beautifully. Culling just misses on the end. They are able to follow up on that kill.
What a save from Edward right there. Snagging Smithy with the very edge of his Curse of the Sad Mummy. A beautiful play from the support. They still lose one kill, but they would have lost two right there.
Got to be quick on that, man.
Talked about
Amumu's last patch shortened that ultimate.
In these bottom matchups with supports are both being playmaking supports that have so much CC. It's all about who has the initiative, who makes the first move. Diamond definitely playing a dangerous game.
He knew he had a bit of turret health to play with there, but he also knew that he had to back off. 16 minutes in, the Hydra finished up. Very nice. Golem Spirit into the Spirit Visage for Benny. Well, Benny was really apparent in that last fight. He's still duking it out with Darien in the top lane. ManCloud continuously flexing his muscles here on Alex East when he gets the chance.
And he has finished up the Hydra too, which is the thing that's keeping him in this CS wars with Alex. Without that, it would be even more difficult for him to keep up with CS because Kale, with the range advantage now, has been able to push it in.
And looking at our support featured matchup here, we're 15 minutes in. Not too much has happened between the supports, but you got to say already thumbs up for playing an Amumu support, being able to hold that off.
Oh yeah, he gets two thumbs up for me. I'm happy about that one. And it was a great Amumu ult. By the way, you know, way back when I played it, the ult was actually much bigger. The radius has been reduced, so Edward has spent some time with the new Amumu, and he knows the range.
Oh, it's a little too much. Barrier goes down, and the Duskbringer takes him down. Bloodwater still on the backside, forced to watch him.
Look at the rotation, though. We have ManCloud coming in and back. Genja's not that low, so it would be very dangerous for ManCloud to go.
Puts on the tear. He will be able to get a good amount of fear out of that one. Oh, he throws on the ultimate. There is no turret. That's the ignite.
Gets one.
That's the kill. And ManCloud is now 3-0.
Now, they also burned the teleport from Nasus, so that leaves Darien up in the top lane just hammering on this turret. And Nasus actually did not get his hand in that kill. So it wasn't optimal there for XDG.
Kobe, I think it's pretty clear that out of everybody, ManCloud has in his mind that he wants revenge from playoffs. He is everywhere there could be a kill right now. And once again, Bloodwater and Smithy mid don't really get to activate anything off of that. But 4-2 here at 18 minutes. Darian's going to drop the top turret, and we'll get a little bit more roam out of everyone now.
Well, yeah, that ManCloud is everywhere except mid because he roamed down bottom. So that was 2 turrets they lost for that kill down bottom. They were trying to answer there. And Gambit, have actually clawed their way in front of XDG as far as the gold is concerned.
3-2 in turrets. The structure's in their favor. We saw yesterday losing the mid turret was a huge detriment to the game, and losing all of your buffs is Alternate was able to do that to CLG, but right here, Gambit keeping theirs up, and they've actually pushed back, as you said, quite hard. And somehow, the Hydra being finished and whatnot, they haven't been able to utilize it on any team fights, so it's kind of just sitting on them. It's like a plateau that they're not able to move off of.
He's been using that to steal up and stay sustained in his lane.
Yeah.
As well as adding a little bit of the burst for his duels with Alex.
I mean, they want to look for pickoffs anyways, so it's working.
Yeah. All right. So Edward getting a little more vision down here. He still is a support, so he's got his Sightstone. And it's this time, as soon as the supports get their Sightstones and then look to upgrade them, that we start seeing the sweeping lenses come in. 19 minutes here, actually. Is a little bit later than usual for the sweeping lenses to start coming in, but it's because the game is so close and neither team really has such a big upper hand that they can invest in that so early.
If you look at Benny's inventory here, it looks like he's trying to get that frozen heart out, which would be huge against this team of Gambit. Everybody pretty much reliant on auto attacks, and it would kill a lot of the damage.
It would go a long ways towards countering the effectiveness of that Sivir ultimate in the team fights, at least.
Yeah.
And added on to that, he does have the Wither as well, which is great against so many of these champions. Nocturne as well as Kale benefit from attack speed.
So that means they got to play for that amount of time. What is in between that, though? We got Diamond, 2 kills for himself. Alex probably needs to start getting a few kills there as well. More money needs to go into these carries because right now those lanes are not going to be strong enough as this game goes on.
Yeah, Alex is definitely waiting to farm up until he gets to that point where he can just burst down 80 carries. Now, it looks like Darian's chasing around Benny, but Benny's really focused on the siphoning Stike Strax, as most people are when they play Nasus. He has crested 300 now, 309 extra damage on it. So he's ticking up pretty well here, but we haven't seen him join a team fight and actually hit anyone besides Darian, who is a massive tank.
This is always one of those, you're just banging your head against the wall, going back and forth, trying to hit Nasus, but Darian always wanting to keep damage on him. If he does teleport, he's going to teleport with less health, so he's doing what he can. Whoa, big damage there actually going in on to Darian, but they don't decide to engage because it could be the mid.
He's fighting back a little bit there. And they're actually just going to stay over on that island that is the top lane. XDG, once again, they can do what they did last time and wait for the teleport to come up. Good spell shield right there from Genja.
Wow. Rush the Giant Spell after his Bloodthirster as well to keep from that burst coming from ManCloud. ManCloud too big. Genja says Giant's Belt next.
Whenever you go up against Kha'Zix, you don't want him to get resets. So you either build some sort of defensive item like a Zanya's or something, if you're an AP, or if you're Genja on an AD carry, you grab a second item Giant Spell.
Right away. Edward getting hit up. Remember, he is a support, but he still is a bit tanky. There's the Dragon's Descent onto the fight. A Curse of the Sad Mummy locks up 3 beautifully. Alex is getting the kills that he needs. Gets a double kill. The third coming in from Darian. Will he get Suna? The gap closer's used. There's the chomp. Another one comes out. And ManCloud's the only one to fly away.
Well, that was a 5-on-5. And Gambit really just rely on their increased tank line from having a tank support there. Even though Eddie gets initiated on here by Smithy, Diamond does not hesitate to pop his ultimate and go in for this exchange. Smithy and everyone else retreats right now, and it's a beautiful Dragon's Descent by Darian to group them up and set them up for Edward's Curse of the Sad Mummy. Meanwhile, Zuna over here, he can't shoot much but tanks, so the damage is not going through, and Gambit can already turn this into a Baron.
22 minutes, and they are going to drop this one down. That makes the gold lead, and they grab Dragon. So as Dragon scales with the game, they get that amount of gold too.
It's just that easy, I guess. Gambit just crushed that team fight destroyed them and then took a huge objective. 20-minute Baron right there.
You
Very,
only know
very
you
nice.
need to show a team like Gambit a small window of opening, because all that was used there was the Vault Breaker. Assault and Battery did not come in. It was Vault Breaker into the Shatter, and enough of that on Edward. That was enough for them to engage. No ults were used, so they already felt confident enough to win that fight straight out.
All right, nobody punches Edward in the back and gets away with it. Diamond rushes to his aid, and they just destroyed.
Team
XDG. I don't
camaraderie
even
is
know.
real.
I don't think Alex even had to use the intervention in that
I
fight.
think no.
Nobody even got
They
that
just
low.
shredded everyone down. That Curse of the Sad Mummy out was pretty amazing.
It was a really good group up there from Darien with his Dragon's Ascent, but it's going to be up to XDG to just return to the... Oh, no. Benny does get caught.
This is the one time now that Darien can keep going on him. Benny does have teleport. The crowd
Fear
control
goes off.
is
He
used
could
for
teleport.
Fear. It looks like he's going to try and get to the bush possibly and do that. There's the Fear. He's going to walk this one out, and I think he may be walking it down as well. Goes down. Darien gets himself another kill. Looking at 200 CS there as well, so he is really starting to get bigger.
So you see how Darien saved his Dragon Descent until the very end there? Because Diamond was already using the Fears, they wanted something to interrupt that teleport just in case, and they do secure the kill with both.
Wow, Gambit already on the minimap shows like they are moving as they have more, or like they have more confidence. People in mid lane, they're going back to clear out the buffs and just go back at it again. XDG's side looks like just what Gambit was doing. Huddled in the middle, waiting for movement from the team. They're trying to react now, and Gambit did a great job at adapting.
I mean, Gambit just have such a beastly 5-on-5 team fight with that support of Mumu coming in and adding so much extra lockdown and so much extra tank stats that XDG really, they'd love to have that Nasus just split pushing and try and make use of teleport. But it's so difficult because Gambit are just continually forcing things with this Baron buff.
Well, you look at a Mumu, right? And he's kind of brings Sona and Annie with the ultimate. It's just bigger. And Sona was something Edward loves to put. Gambit loves Edward to play. Edward likes to play Sona.
Yeah, it's the
but
same.
it still provides that same boom initiation.
Yeah, it's the same initiation, just more beef.
Sometimes you need that. Looking at 25 minutes onto this one. Baron has quite a bit of time, about 1 minute and 30 seconds left. Gambit knows this Baron was pretty much a treat here. They haven't been using it to continuously pressure. Maybe the last leg of it right here, they'll press down mid, but it hasn't been huge.
All right, so Alex now does have that Lich Bane, so they're going to be making very quick work of turrets from now on. Meanwhile, Edward, not only did he get those Boots of Lucidity to get his ultimate on a lower cooldown, he also upgraded them already.
Distortion,
with the Distortion to lower his flash cooldown. So basically, his whole build is around just a little bit of health to soak up some more damage and getting as many flash ultis off as possible.
Let's see, Talisman of Ascension is finished, but On the Hunt is already there, so that's negated. They're going to have to really kite these fights before they can go back in. The fight has changed so much just because of the tankiness, and already they are looking to go on this mid turret.
So the game plan for Gambit right here is make use of this Baron regen. They just need a couple Lich Bane empowered attacks on that turret, and it's going to be trouble real soon.
They are just going to be able to twin. Yeah, they get it real quick. Taking that one down. The inhibitor's there. It's only Zuna, but that's what they wanted. A second time of Zuna on the front line and too close to the team. They are going to make quick work of Bloodwater right after that, but he flashes away to safety, and it looks like they are turned back for now, but all too strong. They'll be back soon.
Yeah, Zuna right in front right there. Easy shot for Edward, and the rest of the team again jumping right in after him. They're able to take down Zuna and get the inhibitor.
That quick second of positioning being seen by Edward twice now, and he takes the chance and gets his team an amazing initiation for the win, or win for the fight win, and a push. Always something after the fight. They get the inhibitor this time.
We did see ManCloud coming back with a little bit of answer there. He's got some nice area of effect burst since he's also finished the last Whisper on top of the Hydra. When he does go in, he can chunk a huge amount out of a large portion of the team, but they need some other source of damage for him to get at least one person actually dead and achieve that reset.
And a Mumu ulti, so many various ways of peeling for your AD carry, stopping anybody from getting away, is really being utilized well by Gambit. Don't think it's going to draw a ban next game, but it will be interesting if they decide to play it again. Like you said, that Lich Bane being finished makes sieging for these guys so much easier on Alex. 1-2 shots and they're right into the inhibitor.
Yeah, I think that laning against the Amumu, actually the lane phase would be the easiest part.
Right.
The scary part about the support Amumu's later game when he's he's tanky and he's got his ult, but the 2 versus 2 lane does seem like it would favor the poke heavy side.
So we got 30 seconds on Dragon and a minute and a half on Baron. Nobody really is thinking about that right now. Let's see if they can get themselves onto this inhibitor turret. Baron is actually down for Gambit right now, so they'll be moving onto this turret without that regen.
Yeah, just a little bug right there. You can see Edward's got a few too many things circling him.
All right. Oh, go! Wow, Genja loses everything, but the intervention allows him to be there for a second. ManCloud on 1 reset. He jumps away with the second one. It's offensive at first, but they have to reassess the fight immediately. Benny is big enough. Where is the follow-up? Zuna finally able to get in there. Everybody's using it on Benny. Zuna gets hit up. Great shutdown going on to Alex Each. That's big power to be out of the fight right now, but there's not much crowd control, so this baby is going coast to coast. Smithy, can he finish the fight? The burnout is out. Diamond puts himself in a hairy situation, and this is good for XDG, but they have a lot to repair.
And the fight ends with Gambit back inside XDG's base here? This is getting ridiculous. Garion runs out the bottom side, takes the back door exit, but that was actually a huge loss for Gambit. They were so far ahead, and because XDG got such a beautiful initiation onto Genja, okay, let's take a look at it again. The Wither down on him sets him up for this beautiful combo. After the Vault Breaker hits, then the intervention goes on, so Alex actually didn't block a lot of damage with that intervention, and ManCloud was able to jump back in, finish him off, and then hop to the other side. Now, they're cornered, and they don't have anywhere to run. With this Nasus being extremely tanky now, he's got plenty of time to make use of the full defensive build. Down bottom, we didn't get to see this, but Darian, this is why he was going at the back exit instead of the front, because he dove onto Zuna there, cleaned him up under the turret.
Diamond's chasing him. He's like, come back and help me.
And then decided to finish him off. All right, so first step here for XDG getting right back in this game. That was actually a really nicely played fight right there, and they are the ones who actually got the initiation on the AD carry this time.
You've seen the fights were so strong from Gambit, but if the start of the fight is not on your terms, it absolutely goes either way. And XDG with a pretty surprising result on that one, still down 8,000 gold, and they really didn't have to use too much of their turrets to win that fight. It was pretty much all of brute champion power. So ManCloud taking this up, he is going to try and get those resets in for this next fight. Gambit to do some more work. They're going to force out this Baron dance.
Exactly. The mid lane is going to continually push down here for Gambit, so they can pressure XDG and force them into a bad spot here where they don't have vision around Baron. The pink ward's now coming out from Gambit. No sweeping lenses yet, though, so it's very hard for them to clear out all the wards from all the random little bushes here. And even though XDG can't get over to Baron, they've got one that can see into the river and just at least notify them when Gambit starts to Baron up.
There's something that's really never changed with Gambit, and we can kind of look at the trinkets, and that's not the thing. The trinkets are the same, but they're always buying pink wards. Look at the amount of pink wards.
Here they go.
On the not the pink wards on Alex Each. They go for the assault battery. Diamond puts himself right inside the middle of the fire to try and get out, and he does. Edward now, there is so much tank on those 3 champions to come in. It's going to be a 1v1. Zuna goes with Alex Each, and Alex comes out on top. More kills coming down as Benny falls, and Gambit streaks down mid lane.
Ooh, XDG, they're still running here. Bloodwater is getting chased, and Edward's right behind it.
Now, there's no real gap closer right here. They're waiting for the bandage toss. Oh, it gets... And it comes up. The distortion, cooldown, lucidity. He's good to go.
That was good initiative there by XDG, taking the shot on Alex, and they got his intervention out before the fight started. But then, since Diamond didn't hesitate and he goes in to save Alex and let him get out, Alex was able to attack and deal damage for the rest of that fight. And once Darian arrives, they definitely got the super tank right there, and they were able to finish off XDG, turning it into yet another Baron attempt.
So I guess it can be seen, and it has been shown, that Gambit definitely has their chemistry back when it comes to the team fighting, when it comes to being in your face. Whoa. Benny, he gets a quick teleport right up top in the face of Darian, but they will decide to back out.
So now Gambit are actually low from trying to start that Baron, and XDG are the ones with position on the map. They've got several people around, and if they start up Baron, it would be difficult, but they could actually force Gambit to not go back and heal. Edward's already gone back to heal, so they're starting it up.
This is big. They have a few of them occupied in middle as well. So coming up to this, they're going to get a good amount of damage done. Both smites are up, and the junglers are ready and prepared. So this is definitely going to be a 50-50. He decided to throw it up. Bloodwater's too far on the outside. He does have Timbers up, so it will be required for the fight. The intervention blocks everything. Genja does decide to follow up with On the Hunt, but nobody else is ready for it, and they collectively back up.
And now it's XDG that are the ones without their health and without their cooldowns. They used the Nasus ultimate when they tried to start Baron, and they just used the Timbers plus half of Bloodwater's life in that last exchange.
Kobe, this is getting really scary for XDG. They're building, ManCloud is built for pure pickoff, and they are being forced into full team fights here. It's not going to work out if this game goes on.
They're going to want to lock someone down with the Assault and Battery while they're too far away from Alex for that intervention. Because we saw right there, Alex did a great job. He blocked so much with that intervention, and that's XDG had to retreat as soon as that exchange happened.
Setting themselves, taking a break, getting the items that they require, picking up Dragon. Not real. I guess it is necessary. Those items are not full yet. We are still quite early in this game. It just seems like a lot has happened.
Well, so much is happening around this Baron, and there's so much back and forth because there are yet to see any sweeping lenses come out from Gambit. They have not switched out their trinkets yet, so it's so hard for them to gain a decisive hold of the vision around Baron. There's always something over there for XDG that they can actually see it, and that's why we're seeing so much back and forth here. Nobody's making the all-in to go for those sweeping lenses and commit to that.
XDG Siege Clear getting a little bit stronger too. It's kind of making Gambit hesitate. They have the melee team, but we talked about it. They have Alex Ish with the Lich Bane. It only takes a few shots to crush down a turret with that, so they have the in and out movement to take those inhibitor turrets down. XDG is getting a little stronger on the defensive side though.
Yeah, they feel a little bit worried because they do have that open lane in mid. Their inhibitor is down, so there's sort of a breach in their base, but Nasus over here, Benny's up to almost 500 extra damage on his Siphoning Strike, so he's slowly ramping up to that very formidable late-game Nasus.
So Darian and Alex Ish, both 5-0-4, 5-3, and 3 right now. The solo lane's doing big things, and Darian really had to wait until mid-game to do this. We saw him and Benny up top kind of just having an island party, not doing much, and that'll play on your mentality in the game. Those guys staying true to what they need to do. Right now, Darian even more, back to farming that top lane.
Darian going back up to farm there, and it looks like, you know, Benny will eventually go grab that. But I think the biggest thing here for Gambit that's contributing to their giant lead over XDG is their control of the dragons. Because we can see so much experience differential from XDG to Gambit, it's because Gambit have not let XDG get that comeback mechanic of the dragons that boosts you so much experience for the champions that are behind.
Gambit finally, not finally, but rewarding the jungle up right now. It was actually quite dark in their eyes, and it looks like they are going to want to pressure this once again. They know they have the team fight. We said it. It's a very pick-off-oriented team here for XDG, and this fight does not look
50%
good for them.
Smithy around the back looking to steal it, but here's the initiation from Diamond.
Bloodwater going very low. Oh, he just gets taken down. Dragon's Descent flies over him for the damage. Smithy going very low. XDG health bars just dropping as they're in the middle of the fight. Gambit is completely huddled around each other. There is so much stacking burnout damage with the Sunfire Cape they're eating alive. And it's Edward bouncing off of everyone, doing more damage as well. Great synergy from the team.
And everyone on Gambit is tanky. We talked about the early Giants belt from Genja. It makes his health bar, you know, look just as tanky as a lot of the rest of the members on his team, and they're not being able to focus him down there. Bloodwater gets annihilated before he's even able to Tibbers.
Gambit playing this one very well, even though Alex each having a hard time. They were able to coordinate something around mid, figured out what they needed to do to really stop that pressure, and Alex now 7-3-4 after going 0-2 in lane.
Alex definitely feeling good about that. He's got the Death Cap and Void Staff combo on top of his Lich Bane, so he's at the point where he can explode AD carries. And Zuna right there, since he only has health from the Trinity Force, very vulnerable to that.
Gambit being Gambit. They are going to force one more fight if they can.
Teleport in!
Flashing in, there's the teleport as well. Tibbers did come out though, but it came out
ManCloud.
late. Genja is just running for him, and they shut down ManCloud. A lot of the power is out of the fight, and there goes more of the crowd control. Smithy will be the next one to fall, and it looks like Benny will be the last. Suna made it out, actually, limping away as Benny can't do much about it. Baron
That
will
was
be Gambit's.
maybe a little bit too early for ManCloud to go all in. He wanted to take that opportunity to burst down Alex, since Alex does not have his intervention. But since he didn't get the kill, he couldn't jump back out. And he did it before the teleport completed, so there was no Nasus tank. All of Gambit just immediately collapsed. Once they kill ManCloud, that's most of the damage gone from XDG.
ManCloud holding true, having the most kills. He was a record setter for that,
Right,
but
so
he's also
Bloodwater
a focus.
smashed right in there, but he didn't get anything off there. Benny teleports in, and he's just chasing the fight because ManCloud was so confident he could get the 100% burst there onto Alex and jump back out. Because he didn't get it, like we said, his life is forfeit, and so is the rest of his team.
At this point in the game, ManCloud kind of almost has to change up his playstyle, being the way he is, be one of the last ones to come in. Yeah, you can delete somebody, but knowing you're going to get that 100-0 delete instead of 1200 damage, it's a little bit easier. So I think he needs to kind of rest back a little bit and come in near the end.
So, I just talked about how good Alex feels about his death cap. I feel like he's communicated that to Darian because we now have 2 death caps, and the Shyvana is going to be having a giant burst of AP now. Darian picking up a death cap of his own.
I think he's going to Zanya's too.
And he's got another needlessly large rog. That's common sense right there because you've got the extra percentage AP from a death cap. Might as well add on to that.
Onto the top inhibitor turret. They have Baron once again ticking down on them, and they're utilizing this one much more than last time because they know they have full control of the base. It has been a steady sway from the first 2 kills in the game in the favor of Gambit. 20-7 on the scoreboard. 40 minutes into the game and a 20,000 gold lead.
They definitely have a good handle on this game. That's for sure. This death cap and AP build from Darian probably won't cost them it, but it does make them a little bit more vulnerable. And if XDG can hold out inside their base and continue to farm, then it does open up a window for them to come back.
So looking at this game, knowing they picked an Amumu support, with the tower going down so fast up top, why didn't they just focus that, kill Edward over and over?
Yeah, so in the 2v1 lane, Benny was chased out of that, and they didn't pull the switch in until a little bit later. And at that point, Edward was already getting tanky, so it was traded back and forth kills.
Right.
The junglers spent a lot of time bottom, but both sides got kills down bottom, and so it kind of evened out.
I'm gonna inhibitor turret dance off over here. They're going down.
Darian is just feeling this game.
No move. Look at that smile. He's liking it. Waiting for the minion wave. That's all it's about. They got wards down. Good thing they have the pink ward.
Okay,
they don't
so
want to lose Kha'Zix.
Well, yeah, exactly. The pink ward right there, preemptive pink ward. They're waiting for ManCloud to do the same thing he did last time and not let him get away with his ultimate.
They said, hey, the minions are here. It's time to fight. Let's go. Alex Deesh goes in first, and the turret goes down right after. A beautiful Curse of the Sad Mummy on the back line, and we see Bloodwater going down. Benny looks like he's going to follow very fast, and the coffins are just being created too fast right now for XDG. The base is going to go down with them, I believe. And game 1 to Gambit in the Battle of the Atlantic.
Darian actually brought a bunch of damage to that fight with his Dragon's Descent. As you can see, Edward set him up with the Amumu ulti, and they're going to take this game 1.
Very nice job there. Alex scratching his head now for different reasons. He's like, oh, that was a very nice game. Not because ManCloud went crazy on him. That did throw them off a little bit, but the mentality that Gambit has always had coming into these games has been there's always more game to play. That doesn't mean everything.
All right, so Amumu support, Deathcap Shyvana.
That happened.
Both those things did happen. I'm sure they're feeling very confident after that win, and it's up to XDG really to bring this one back.
This is one of the first times that Gambit is actually traveling without Constantine, without Groove, one of their main, pretty much coaches, the guy they talk to and whatnot.
See, yeah, that's why they're getting a little rowdy here. They're kind of out of control now. No Groove to watch over them, and they've started to sort of run amok.
Yeah, can't do it. But it is true. You know, teams look at that. Those are the questions they go to. It's always nice to have a fresh perspective. But I guess the freshest one that came out of the hotel room last night was, let's do a Mumu support.
A Mumu support. Okay, so XDG, looking at game 2, the adjustments that they're going to want to make are not really obvious. I think that aside from the Amumu, they might want to take a look at the Shyvana.
Yeah.
Because Darian was able to get a nice early lead and have a huge impact on that game. Even though he didn't have teleport, he was bullying lane.
What about Mundo? They leave Mundo up?
No. They banned that one. I think that was a good ban.
All right.
Keep up with that Mundo ban. But I think that it's up to Zuna and Bloodwater to discuss how they would want to deal with a second Amumu support if they see that again. Yeah. Because I feel like you can get around that. It's not like that's some OP secret support or something that's just going to crush every lane
right
now. If Genja and Edward run that again, I expect an answer from Bloodwater and Zuna. You know, we'll have to see what Double Lift thinks on the analyst desk about that duo.
We will have to see. We got to take a short break right now, but when we return, it's game 2 between Gambit and XDG.